Welcome to the deep dive. We take the research you share and really try to get straight to the core insights. Today, we're wading into something you see everywhere in fitness, the whole bulking and cutting strategy.
Ah, yes. It's kind of the classic approach, isn't it?
Totally. I mean,
Yeah.
walk into pretty much any gym, right? From the hardcore powerlifting spots to the, fancier places, you see it. It's been the go-to since bodybuilding really took off in the 60s, and it's still probably the main way people think about getting bigger and then leaner.
Exactly. It's that two-phase idea. And, well, on the surface, it seems logical enough. First, you've got the bulking phase. The idea here is you eat a lot more calories, a surplus, to put your body in an anabolic state.
Anabolic meaning building up.
Building mode, yeah.
Yeah.
The theory is this is the best state for packing on muscle tissue. But the downside is obvious, right? You eat that much, you're definitely going to gain some fat along with the muscle. It's kind of unavoidable.
Okay, so then comes phase two.
Then comes cutting. You flip the switch. Now you're eating way fewer calories, a deficit. And this pushes the body into a catabolic state, breaking down tissue, which hopefully leads to fat loss.
And typically, these phases are pretty short and intense.
Yeah, often you see bulks lasting maybe 4 to 6 weeks, then a cut for, say, 6 to 8 weeks. It's fast cycling.
Right. Quick transformations, that's the promise. But this is where we need to dig in today, isn't it? What's the modern science actually saying about these big swings in weight? Because our sources, they suggest that while, yeah, maybe it works for changing your look short term, it might be causing some real lasting issues, metabolic problems, mental health stuff, especially if your goals are more about, long-term health, feeling good, having energy, and not developing a weird relationship with food. The evidence hints these cycles could be counterproductive.
Yeah, that's really the crux of it. And what's really interesting is where the trouble often starts. It's often mental, even before the physical side effects fully kick in.
Right.
Well, just think about the process. It demands this intense focus on your body, your weight, every calorie, that kind of environment.
Yeah.
It can be really tough on your mental health.
Yeah, that makes sense. The research seems to back that up pretty strongly, suggesting it's actually harmful psychologically, pushing people towards some serious issues.
Absolutely. We looked at one study, it was in eating and weight disorders, I believe, and it found a clear link between doing these bulk and cut cycles and having a stronger, almost obsessive drive for muscularity.
Okay.
And it wasn't just about wanting to be muscular. It correlated with more severe signs of eating disorder issues and muscle dysmorphia. And that was true for both men and women.
Wow. So the method itself, the one people use to get the ideal body, is actually feeding the anxiety and distress around body image.
It seems that way. You're basically taking patterns that look a lot like disordered eating, extreme restriction, then extreme eating, and branding it as a fitness plan. That's a heavy psychological toll.
A huge toll. And you're saying that mental stress then spills over into physical problems?
It does. It really does. Let's talk about the body's physical response, because these cycles trigger this whole cascade of changes. They ramp up internal stress and, kind of ironically, make it harder for your body to build healthy muscle in the long run.
Okay, let's start with bulking then. It always sounds like the fun part, right? Eat whatever, get strong. But you're saying it's not all good news internally.
Far from it. I mean, the obvious thing is you're storing more fat. That just makes the cut phase harder later. Simple as that. But the bigger, maybe quieter danger is what it does to your insulin sensitivity.
Okay, insulin sensitivity. Break that down for us. How does eating a lot hurt that? Sounds technical.
Yeah, it can sound a bit jargony, but think of insulin like a key. It unlocks your cells so sugar, glucose, can get in and be used for energy. Now, if you're constantly flooding your system with excess calories, especially lots of refined carbs, your cells sort of get overwhelmed. They get less responsive to that insulin key.
Ah, okay. They stop listening.
Exactly. That's decreased insulin sensitivity, or sometimes called suboptimal. Your body then has to pump out more insulin just to manage your blood sugar. It's working overtime.
And that overworking, the high insulin levels, that's where the health risks pop up.
That's precisely it. When your blood sugar and insulin are chronically high like that, it puts a huge strain on your system. And the list of potential long-term problems is pretty sobering. We're talking increased risk for cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure,
Wow.
even certain cancers, metabolic syndrome, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, stroke, Plus, chronic stuff like sleep apnea and even depression have links here. It's serious stuff.
That's a massive potential downside for just trying to gain some muscle quickly.
It really
And
is.
here's the part I find fascinating, almost backwards. You mentioned this cycle actually makes it harder to gain muscle efficiently. How does poor insulin sensitivity do that?
Yeah, it's critical and totally counterintuitive, isn't it? Muscle growth, that anabolic state we talked about, relies heavily on insulin working properly. Your muscle cells need to be sensitive to insulin to effectively pull in amino acids and build new protein. If your cells are resistant, because they're stressed from that constant calorie surplus, your body struggles to get those nutrients into the muscle efficiently,
So where do the extra calories go?
more likely to be stored as fat. And you're not maximizing the actual muscle building potential of your training. The bulk starts working against its own goal.
Okay, so the bulk phase isn't this magic muscle growth period. It can lead to metabolic stress, fat gain, and actually hinder the process itself.
Wild. All right, let's flip to the other side, the cut. What happens when people cut calories really drastically? Like losing more than a pound a week, which seems common. Yeah, that rapid cutting phase puts immense stress on the body. Your system basically perceives rapid weight loss as a threat, like starvation, even if you technically have fat to lose. And this triggers a couple of key hormonal shifts that are really bad news for keeping the muscle you just worked, theoretically, to build.
What hormones are we talking about?
First, cortisol goes up. Cortisol is your main stress hormone. High cortisol tells your body to break down tissues for energy, and that includes muscle.
Oh, not good.
Not good at all. And second, testosterone production tends to drop. Testosterone is crucial for muscle repair, maintenance, growth, energy levels.
So let me get this straight. During the cut, your body jacks up the hormone that eats muscle, cortisol,
Mm-hmm.
and tanks the hormone that builds and keeps muscle, testosterone.
You got it. It's like your body is panicking and pulling the emergency brake on muscle preservation.
So the whole cycle, bulking, then cutting. It sounds like a recipe for just chronic hormonal chaos and poor metabolism. You struggle to build muscle efficiently because of insulin issues, then you risk losing it during the cut because your hormones are freaking out.
That's a really good summary. You're yanking this hormonal pendulum back and forth violently. It makes it almost impossible to maintain a healthy, stable environment for your muscle tissue.
And does this volatility show up in performance too? Like how you actually feel and perform in the gym?
Immediately, yeah. During the bulk, sources show things like aerobic endurance, your VO2 max, they often tank. You feel heavier, maybe more sluggish.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Then you switch to the cut, and suddenly you don't have the energy reserves or the hormonal support. Strength levels often drop off significantly. You're kind of never really operating at your peak.
Makes sense. And what about injuries? Does swinging weight up and down like that increase risk?
Oh, definitely. Think about the stress on your joints, your tendons, your ligaments. Your body adapts to carrying more weight during the bulk. Then you rapidly lose weight, and those support structures are constantly trying to adjust. It's a recipe for strain and potential injury, absolutely.
Okay, so we've got metabolic issues, hormonal chaos, performance drops, injury risk. And that beyond all the science, there's just the practical side. This sounds incredibly hard to stick to.
It is. It takes a huge amount of time, meticulous planning, sheer willpower to ride that calorie roller coaster, not to mention dealing with the mood swings that can come with the hormonal shifts.
And what usually happens? Do most people succeed?
Well, anecdotally and based on what we see, failure is really common. A lot of people just end up back where they started or sometimes worse off, especially if they do a dirty bulk, just eating junk food, chugging mass gainer shakes. They gain so much fat that getting lean again feels impossible. They get stuck in this cycle, feeling tired and metabolically sluggish, those dramatic transformations you see online. They often mask underlying health struggles and metabolic strain.
Okay, so the picture for traditional bulking and cutting looks, well, pretty bleak for long-term health and sustainability. But there's got to be a better way, right? There's good news here.
There is, absolutely. We can shift from that extreme mindset to something more sustainable. The research points towards an alternative, let's call it the clean gain method. The goal here is still building muscle, staying relatively lean, but doing it in a way that supports your health and doesn't mess up your relationship with food. No more massive weight swings.
Okay, a clean gain. What's the philosophy behind that? How is it different?
It's fundamentally different. Instead of chasing these extreme highs and lows, the focus is on consistency. Building solid, feel-good nutrition habits. The core idea is a slight calorie surplus. Just enough extra energy to fuel muscle growth and recovery, but not so much that you trigger that rapid fat gain and mess with your insulin sensitivity.
Slight being the key word there, huh? Not the huge surpluses of a traditional bulk.
Exactly. And yes, it involves monitoring, but ideally without the obsessive, stressful, minute-by-minute tracking you get with apps like MyFitnessPal sometimes. It's more about building body awareness, not becoming dependent on tech.
Okay, let's make this practical for listeners. If someone listening wants to gain muscle using this clean gain approach, what are the steps?
All right, first step. Think longer term. Set up a muscle gain phase for maybe 8 to 12 weeks. Give yourself an end date. And during this time, really prioritize whole, nutrient-dense foods. Steer clear of the ultra-processed stuff, added sugars. Keep the quality high.
Okay, longer phase, better food quality. What about the calories?
Increase them moderately. We're talking just 250 to 500 calories above your maintenance level per day.
Just 250 to 500. That's not much. What does that look like in food?
Right, it's small. 250 calories could be like a good serving of Greek yogurt with some berries, or a small protein shake with milk. It's a nudge, not a flood.
Got it. Gentle nudge. What else?
Crucially, you need to pair this with smart, consistent strength training. Progressive overload. Ideally working with a good coach. You need to give those extra calories a job to do building muscle, otherwise they'll just end up as fat storage.
Makes sense. Training stimulus is key. Then what? Assess.
Yes. After that 8-12-week block, take stock. Are you gaining muscle? The target rate here is slow and steady, about 0.25% to 0.5% of your total body weight per week.
Very slow.
Very slow. If you're hitting that, great, keep going. If not, then you make a small adjustment. Increase calories by maybe another 250 per day and check again in 4 weeks. Adjust based on data, not guesswork. Avoid those big swings.
Okay, that sounds much more controlled. Now, what if someone's primary goal right now is to get leaner? How does the clean gain idea apply there?
Same principle, moderation. You create a slight calorie deficit, again, just 250 to 500 calories below maintenance per day.
And the target weight loss, also slow.
Also slow and steady. Aim for losing about 0.5% to 1% of your body weight per week. Reassess every 4 weeks or so. This slower pace helps minimize that hormonal shock, the cortisol spike, the testosterone drop. It lets you lose fat while better preserving your muscle and strength.
Right, avoiding the catabolic panic mode. So what happens when you reach your goal weight or body fat percentage with this method? How do you maintain it without rebounding?
The sustainability part, this is key. Once you hit your goal, you don't just slash calories further or stay in a deficit forever. You'd actually bring your calories up slightly to maybe a small 250 calorie surplus over maintenance. Just that little bit extra.
A surplus. After dieting.
Tiny one. And you schedule a check-in for about 6 weeks later. This slight surplus gives you energy, supports continued strength, helps you feel good, maybe even allows for very slow muscle gain, all while minimizing fat regain. It keeps you in a positive metabolic state.
That sounds way more sustainable.
Yeah.
Gently anabolic, always improving without the crash.
Exactly. Avoiding the metabolic whiplash is the goal.
Okay, so summing this up to everyone listening, those big, dramatic weight swings you see online, they might look impressive, but the science suggests they're often tied to poor long-term health, metabolic issues, and even mental distress. A more moderate, consistent approach like this clean gain method seems much better supported by research for achieving sustainable results without sacrificing your well-being.
Right. Now, does this mean nobody should ever do a traditional bulk and cut? Well, you know the usual answer in health and fitness.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends. For some very specific competitive athletes, maybe bodybuilders with short-term show-specific goals, maybe it has a place under expert guidance. But for the average person just wanting to be healthy, strong, and feel good long-term, it's almost certainly not the best approach. It's not the most sustainable.
So be wary of absolutes.
Absolutely. Be cautious of anyone, coach or influencer, who says their way is the only way. Good coaching is about tailoring the strategy to your life, your body, your history, your mental state. Consistency over extremism usually wins out.
Well said. Okay, let's leave everyone with a final thought to chew on. Considering all the risks we've talked about today, the physical, the psychological, what's one goal besides just changing how you look? Maybe it's better endurance, maybe better mental health around fitness, maybe just having stable energy all day. What's one non-aesthetic goal you could prioritize a bit more in your routine instead of just chasing rapid changes in body composition?
Good question to ponder.
Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning into this deep dive. We'll catch you on the next one.